Thank you for being here today. If you can just tell us your story, tell us who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to have this conversation and to connect globally.
Yes.
We're both in two different countries, and it's so nice to, yeah, just connect and be present in this moment. And I'll briefly introduce myself so you folks know who I am and how I have arrived here. So, I'm a decolonial psychotherapist, an abolitionist social worker, a licensed clinical social worker, community organizer, residing on the unceded land of the Ohlone people, colonially known as Oakland, California. And, I arrive here as descendants of colonized, occupied, displaced, and liberated Vietnamese people.
Yeah.
My lived experiences of being queer, non binary, neurodiverse, disabled, person of the global majority, and navigating the world and the trauma that comes with that has led me to the practice of healing. And so, in my healing work, my area of practices are complex trauma, ancestral healing, substance misuse and addictions, reconnecting the mind and the body through the nervous system, but I'll pause there because I have a lot to share. There's a lot about me that, I feel like is important to share. But yeah, just want to hear from you and how you're doing, how you're feeling.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. It's before we start with questions, right? And everything is set up now. So we cut to the first take. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being patient with us doing this. We really hope to
Yeah, of
get this
course.
set up and maybe just bring more and more people on the show as well, where
Mm-hmm.
we can host you and radicalize therapy. Okay, 3, 2, action. Okay, welcome. Xin chào, em tên là Thùy Nguyễn, and welcome to Twee's Chronicle Society, where we explore different minds, ideas, and meaningful perspective to inspire a more compassionate world. And today, may I present you Trang Nguyễn, or we can also call her Chị Chanh. And Chị Chanh is a Vietnamese American. She's also a psychotherapist that is on a mission to change the world and return to our country, to our motherland, to protect people, to inspire, and to bring new information and new education to our community. So may I present you Chị Chanh. And Chị Chanh ơi, yes, Chị Chanh is bilingual. She speaks Vietnamese as well as being the first second generation of immigrant, yes, in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Chị Chanh can tell us more about her personal journey besides her professional practice and what led her to do what she's doing.
Yes. So thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here, to be with you, and to have this conversation about something that's so important to me personally, to our community. And yes, so my name is Yang Wing, and my pronouns are they, them. And so I am a decolonial psychotherapist, abolitionist social worker, licensed clinical social worker, and I'm based on the unceded land of the Ohlone people, colonially known as Oakland, California. And as you mentioned, I am actually 1.5 generation because I was born in Vũng Tàu.
Wow.
And I also, let folks know that I am descendants of colonized, occupied, displaced, and liberated Vietnamese people. That's a huge part of my identity. That's something that I didn't grow up getting to embrace, getting to, talk about, to brag, to show off, and something that I have really arrived at is being really proud um, of my identity. I actually don't identify as an American, as you mentioned. I'm actually really ashamed to be an American citizen because of, I'm sure people know like what's going on in America.
You don't really talk much about it. You never really speak about San Jose actually. Like you just kind of go straight into it,
Yeah, like I love where I live. I love Oakland. I love the people. I love the people that have created community with. But America, the country, the government, like I don't fuck with that, So
Yes. we're welcome. We're welcome to express and to curse and to say whatever we want on the show. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here, Chang. Thank you
Thank
for sharing us
you.
your perspective. So let's just say let's come back to history. Yes, and so you explored more about your identity. And is it okay to share that share about a little bit of your information that you actually was diagnosed not long ago,
Mm,
after you get your license and now identified as neurodivergent and having living a
mhm,
large portion of your life not getting the answers
mhm.
and the support that you need? What was that like for you?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I had a lot of mental health issues throughout my life,
Yeah.
and it became a lot more clear in my late teens, young adulthood, and struggled a lot with anxiety and depression, and was
Yeah.
diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And then, after I graduated from graduate school, was already working as a therapist.
Wow.
Then I was diagnosed with ADHD,
Yes.
which is very late in life because that was about only 3 years ago. So in my early 30s. And, through that process, I learned a lot more about myself. A lot of my challenges growing up made a lot more sense. I felt like I could actually have like a full cohesive story of my existence.
Yeah.
So that was really, really helpful. And, knowing that I'm neurodivergent, I have different needs in life, different accessibility needs, also being physically disabled, all the intersections of, who I am,
Wow.
knowing that now and not needing to be ashamed of it
Yes.
is really helpful so that I can know how to support myself and know how to let and share with people around me on how to support me and build community through that.
Wow, that's really beautiful, Chang. Because when people first interact with you, right? Like because when we met
Mhm.
in Saigon, you're so articulate, and then you're like you have
Mm,
all your license and everything. You're so well knowledge, right?
mm,
If like an average person, I would say someone that won't have known about your disability,
mhm,
they couldn't even tell, right? Like for you to have
mhm,
that level of self-agency, that
mhm,
independence, right? You've traveled the world, you've traveled a large part of Vietnam on your own,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So how would you help us to understand what it's like to live through the world when people look at like the outside, right, without knowing
Mm.
internally things that you might have to overcome on a daily basis until this moment, being a licensed psychologist? Would you help us to expand on that?
Yeah, and just a brief correction, I'm a licensed psychotherapist,
Psychotherapist,
not a
yeah.
psychologist. And
Yeah.
so, for me, I think, as you're reflecting that back to me from when we met in person, that's the beauty of masking, being
Yeah.
undetected, not being able to really, show people, what's going on in the inside. And I would say, like, when we met, I wasn't masking.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a huge difference between like masking and bridging, like learning how to tend to yourself so that you don't have to scream from the inside out versus masking historically for me has been like just hiding and pretending and
Yeah.
denying and just like pushing all my needs down, like all the disabilities that I had and now am able to name. And so, that made me very undetectable. But that also means that I struggled a lot alone in isolation. And eventually, not only myself, a lot of people I know, we get burnt out. We can't perform and mask and pretend forever. Even the best actors have to take a break and stop performing, and reset and reboot. And so, Yeah, it's something that, has been a long journey for me to learn like self-compassion, self-acceptance, understand what internalized ableism is, something that
Ableism.
I still struggle with. I know a lot of people around me struggle with because we live in such an ableist society.
Mm.
So like that goes into what you were talking about, like with traveling. Like traveling isn't easy when you're neurodivergent, when you have disabilities. And so, a big part of being able to travel sustainably and move in the world sustainably was getting to know myself a lot more and on a much deeper level,
Yeah.
and to really confront and face, like, hey, what do you actually need to move with more ease in the world? And so that was a long journey, and it's still an ongoing journey. And I feel like as complex human beings, we will continue to evolve, and those
Yeah.
needs and accessibility will change with us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I can see that, right? Like everyone can see that why you started radicalized therapy. You started your own practice. And how long was that ago?
Uh-huh.
How long since you started?
Uh, so I started radicalized care therapy in September 2022,
Wow.
2023. So
Okay.
wait, what year is it right now? 2026. So no, 2024. So it's been almost 2 years.
Almost a year.
I've been
Congratulations.
doing,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been doing therapy since 2019. And so, I was able to work in like group practices, private practices, and then now, yeah, started my own practice almost 2 years ago that I do therapy with folks, and I also do like holistic defense-based social work with people who are incarcerated. So those are the two
Wow.
areas that I mainly work in right now.
Wow. Okay. Of our interview, Chang, please tell us about
Yes.
your on-field experience with incarcerated individuals, right? Because I
Mm,
I would say you're one of the most compassionate, one of the kindest, non-judgmental I've ever come across in my life, right? And we both have like very I mean I don't know about your household, but being born in
yeah.
Vietnam, right? There are certain expectations that we don't even know why it existed, right? Like
Hmm.
the level of
Hmm.
conformity that we have to come with without
Yeah.
not really a big understanding of why those expectations exist, right? And
Mm,
having met
yeah.
someone like you, I believe that you're going to bring such a new waves of awareness to our
Mm,
community because you
hmm.
not only that you're helping people to understand themselves, you're helping people to have a shed a different light on
Yeah.
behaviors in general,
Hmm.
and you help
Hmm.
to help to stop dehumanizing people, dehumanizing one another, right? So Trang,
Yeah.
please tell us more about what inspired you and what brought you to the work of working with, I would say, one of the most dehumanized group of people on the planet. What led you there?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Before I get into that, I just want to name that, as we're filming this and tending to ourselves and not operating in an ableist society is asking for breaks, like taking care of like our biological needs, getting up to move around, stretch our body.
It's
And like right now
it's
I have
5:30
ice
and
packs on. Yeah, like I have ice packs on my body because it's like I need that. And it's like we should be able to exist in those ways where it's like
yes,
we don't have to sit still and just like pretend and suppress everything that we want to come out.
yes, exactly.
And really, encouraging of like the freedom
I know it's
of
5:30.
expression.
Yes, I know it's 5:30 a.m. here in Vietnam, and he's like literally on the
Yeah.
floor, just stretching and just moving around.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for asking for what you need. And yeah, going into this topic, this topic is really, really important to me, and I feel like really connected to, Vietnamese people and our history. And, I got into this work in my early 20s, because I took a class in college called Women of Color in the Prison Industrial Complex, where I learned about Angela Davis, and she is a revolutionary. She's an abolitionist. She was formerly incarcerated, and she is someone that has been such a guide for me in liberatory work, in decolonial work. And I agree with you, people who are incarcerated are the most dehumanized people on the planet, across the globe. People who are in, right now in ICE detentions, also called concentration camps here in the United States, people in Gaza under, Israeli military imprisonment, basically kidnapped. And then people in my local community who are Black and brown folks, people who are disabled, neurodivergent, queer, who get targeted and are criminalized for existing. Oftentimes, I started working with youth, so kids from like 12, 11, up until, early 20s. And I was just like, hold on. We put kids in cages. At a young age, for me, I was like, that is the most disgusting I've ever heard in my life. And as a child that was extremely angry, extremely disruptive, I was like, I can never imagine being put in a cage when I have real human emotions as a child.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Thank you. And it's also, it's still for me now to say I find the world, because people would label us with all sort of names being neurodivergent, right? But sometimes I find the world mad, right? Because the system is doing the very same thing that they've been doing for many years, which is the people that we would dare say people that the closer they are at the bottom, the less protection they actually have from anything. So being 12, being, oh my God, it's insane now. Like you're being 5, 6 years old and you're being detained by ICE and you're being put away. And they separate you from your life, from your family, or that you're stuck in your parents might be diplomats living in the state, but now your flight from Gaza back to the state could be delayed, or you won't be able to get back to your home where you were born in the state, and you're stuck in a war, and you're not getting accessibility in for water, for food, right? So I find the world to be, I think we share this belief. We find the world to be quite insane sometimes. I think that is abnormal, and the whole reason why we're sitting here having this conversation, because we believe we think differently, in a sense that if there's any way that radicalized therapy can help to bring people closer together and view behaviors with more compassion, with more understanding, right? So if you are demonstrating, right, for an average person, they won't be having the depth of knowledge, the patient, because you're very patient that you have, right? What would you like to tell them, right, in simpler language that would help to, I don't know, maybe inspire different, like a different thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I would tell them anything. I think I would ask them questions. I would ask them questions about their migration story, their lineage, how they arrived here, what were they running away from, what were they running towards. And whenever we want to connect to people on a deep level, especially people who don't agree with us, it is important to make it relatable to them. Because this work, decolonial work, abolition work, liberatory work, it's literally for everyone. It's to liberate all people, not just people who are leftists or are part of on this side of history. It's to liberate all people. And it's to ask them questions about more of like what connects us all versus what divides us all. And that's what colonialism, capitalism, imperialism is meant to do, is to divide us, to create these social hierarchies, to create race, to create class, to create ableism, so that we're pocket into all of these categories to then oppress each other and hurt each other and all these things, so that we don't put all the commonalities together so that we can, collaborate and go against the oppressors and fight against the oppressors and the systems that were created.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. It's so beautiful and interesting that you also learned this at such a young age. The story you share, how you met your mentor, and being able to interact with the different race and community in the state has also brought you a very different perspective, right? And then you start to understand, so the issues here is really not us. Human are very imperfect. We have emotion. We're not robots. Yes. And it's so much more about the bigger picture, the environment that is being created right now for us to turn on each other, right? And I really love that you're saying that we ask more questions, right? Because it's so easy to be so upset and so angry sometimes that we want to yell instead of just understanding why people behave the way they behave, and then they want to in a sense follow the system because it's just easier to follow, especially when you're in a position of power, when it's just so much more beneficial if you follow the framework, right? So if we come back to someone who doesn't really have a reason to step out of the framework, because it has served them so well, what are the strategies for us as a collective,
What was your question? You cut out a little bit. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so let's just say if the framework has served someone so well, right? I would say let's just put a very typical example, right? Like you have an average white guys who have zero interest in any political issues, and he still has struggle, he still have his emotion, life can still be very hard on him, right? But he has less of a reason to leave the system, right? Because as a white male, he can go get a job with less discrimination. He can travel the world with his visa, with maybe very little economic support from anyone, right? And he doesn't need to know. He doesn't need to understand any of this. He has his right, right, as a human being to explore what he wants and what he doesn't want to know, right? So as a collective, what do you think that how we should approach him? Or I mean, just ask questions, but what sort of questions to ask him to care about what he doesn't need to care about,
Yeah, I feel like this is a very sensitive, detailed, like this is what everyone wants to know. And I think it's important because that's where we're at. And the thing is that people, as you're describing, who don't need to step out of these privileges, right? There's people who have a lot of privileges, whether that's, class privilege, race privilege, having a able body, all of these things, and having these privileges have served them all, and they benefit off of that. And that is something that a lot of people don't want to step out of. And there's been this myth, this, to me, a scam that we have to hoard the privileges, we have to hoard the wealth, we have to hoard all these things, as if there's not enough to go around for everyone else. Because if we hoard it, then that the myth is that we hoard it, then we won't suffer like these people down here. And so I need to stay up here. Versus actually, there's enough resources to go around for everyone, where everyone could live sustainably and beautifully, and in an ecosystem. And it's important to dismantle these myths, these lies that have been told to us that only certain groups of people can hold these certain privileges, versus like, no, there's enough to go around for everyone. And so to approach someone like that, I don't think it's easy. Sometimes it could be dangerous. Sometimes it could be physically dangerous. It determines on like safety. And is this person even approachable? Does this person want to talk? Is this person open-minded? Do they want to, like have a common ground and collaborate and learn from each other? You can't really have a conversation with someone until some sort of trust and safety is built. And through that, I think starting there would be important of like, what are our commonalities? Like you said, someone that has struggles, right? Like everyone has struggles. Every human being is complex. How can we relate on these things? Not that my struggle as a queer, non-white person would be the same as yours, but that there's a shared understanding of what pain is like, what pain feels like. And that, the more that you're able to connect with people, the more that, people in privileged positions humanize you. And I don't say that this is something that non-white people are responsible of doing. A lot of the issues that are going on in the world right now are created by white people. White people are responsible to undo that. We can be a partner in that, we can support that, but it is not our responsibility to do that work, because we didn't create that. And so if someone's in the position that wants to approach this person,
say it.
Then
Say
they,
it.
they gotta make sure that it's a safe thing to do. And how can you build safety and trust? It shouldn't be the responsibility of the non-white person to do that. But if they really wanted to, like, they should have autonomy.
Thank you. So stop. This is exactly what I want our community to understand. Like, stop placing the burden on the already a person that is having a really hard time just existing. I mean, like, let's just make a very specific example. Homeless children right now. Stop placing the burden of change on them when they're already on the street. The next thing they think about is where to get clean water to drink. They don't think about education. That's the first needs to meet is food and safety.
Right.
So
basic needs.
So why are you asking them to literally just get an education from where, from what, like from who, right? Exactly. So the people who are actually having the power to shift all of this, ask them to change instead. Place a high standard on them, right? And that goes back to the community, right? That is already in that cycle, right? People that are incarcerated, people who were already born with career paths that they don't want to be in sometimes, right? Either that is labor work, that is, oh God, we can say this on the show, right? Like sex work, right? And how can we, what do radicalized care therapy wants to tell the people who are already struggling, right, having a hard time, because I know you're doing this for the people. I know you're not here for the money. I know you're trying to do the right thing. What are you trying to bring to us, that helping us to understand, like the perspective, the opinion that you just shared just now?
I mean, and I feel like with what you shared about people who are in survival mode, people who are homeless, unhoused, incarcerated, their priority is making it another day and getting their basic needs met: food, housing, clean water. And so there's this huge myth of that being in these situations is a moral failure, which it is not. These are systemic issues. These were designed to put us, these people in these positions, so that they can capitalize, monetize, and benefit off of them, and then place the blame back onto them. So it truly is a business model and a business structure for people who are, exploiting human beings.
Yeah.
And so with radicalized care therapy, which, a part of it is therapy, which is doing micro work, like one work.
Yeah.
And then for me, like working with people who are system impacted, like incarcerated people, and really capturing the macro, right? The environment, the meso, like the community, family systems, and then the micro, which is, ourselves and what's going on inside of us and how that is all interconnected with each other.
Wow.
And how they all feed each other. And that's something that I think that when, let's say, for example, a lot of times what happens in therapy is that it's only focused on the micro, it's only focused on the person, it's only focused on change your mindset, think more positively, or, reframe this. And it's like, well, you can't really reframe needing clean water or food to eat. That's not how that works. You have to include systems, and that it is not, like you said, not their responsibility to do that. As someone who is now in a privileged position, it is my duty as someone in the community to support these folks, because I don't see them any different than other people that I love, that I'm close with. This is, something that I think capitalism has really fucked us up, is to put ourselves and each other in a hierarchy as if we are better than them. We are more educated than them. Therefore, we deserve water. We deserve food. They don't. And I'm like, that's some fucked up thinking. Like, that's not right. That's inhumane. How did we get here?
Yeah, exactly.
To me, that sounds so wild.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And it's not, and we all, as you have said, the interconnectedness of being human, of being people. How are you and me sitting here, and you have a career across planet Earth, and yet you care about Vietnam, you care about the people right here in our country, in our community, right? So you see, like, you could be half the Earth away, but when you watching an image and video, when you come back here, you still feel that connection. You still feel home. You still want to be. You still want to be back. You are just, you see the link between people. It's not just about where you're born. It's about, it's in here, how you feel and what leads you back to yourself. And because you return to yourself, you'll be able to bring that care and compassion out to people. and and so let's go back to the demographic, right? Specifically, before we end our conversation. Thank you so much for being here. We have 8 more minutes of about time before we let you go back to your mission. The chị Chanh ơi, cái demographic, right? That I would say, I don't know if that's right questions to ask, but maybe there's an ideal demographic of people that you're pursuing, that you are targeting to serve, right? Because we keep coming back to, whenever we speak about challenging behavior, misconception, discrimination, right? You always speak about, hôm nay sinh nhật em đấy. I was like, happy birthday to me. Thank you.
Wait, it's your birthday?
Yeah, I'm just
Oh my god, chúc mừng.
Cảm ơn.
Oh my god.
And so I thank you. I'm lớn rồi nữa quậy.
What a gift.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you. Yes, it's still on the mission. I feel very in tune with myself, very fired up. Thank you. Very accepting. As really as in trying to be, I don't know. I just think just taking one day at a time and just be us. accepting as possible. Have so much gratitude. Như kiểu em just looking back, right? Just 2 months ago, and just to be able to sit here and doing this with you and pursuing what I truly believe in. I know we're almost strangers, Chang, but I really believe in what you're doing, and I have so much gratitude, and I am so grateful that I've gone on this path and being able to meet more and more people like you, and just to be just truly inspired by by the mission and having this sort of conversation with everyone, and having gone through what we have gone through and learned through them, right? Like and now just gosh, like I'm just and because I'm stepping out, I'm seeing so many more of me, of us, like queer, and I'm gay and I'm bi, and I'm so happy that I'm having that freedom to say this right now, and then being able to open this conversation with others. And it's like, chị biết không, mà bố mẹ em mua cho em cái camera. They bought me a camera to do this after, and after having the conversation with them about our gender and what it's like being autistic, and then it's just thank you. Yes. So for before we let you go today, chị Trang, or on to go on your mission, right? What is the plan for radicalized care therapy in the future to come? What are you trying to where are you trying to bring your practice? What are you trying to do, and the demographic of people that you think would, I would say, ideal for your model and your practice here in Vietnam?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, a big part of why I do this work is because, being Vietnamese, being part of the diaspora, being forcibly displaced from my homeland, I didn't have a choice. If I had a choice, I would have stayed in my homeland. And all of that happened through, Western imperialism, colonization, and what keeps my people in the diaspora, in, so-called America, locked into this fake American dream is like that propaganda. And it's kept people really brainwashed and locked into these lies that will uphold white supremacy and these privileges that don't benefit us at all. It doesn't benefit anyone, even white people. White supremacy hurts white people, even. And so, for me, like, this work is so important because it's tied to people in the diaspora, not just Vietnamese people, but all people in the diaspora that are impacted by Western imperialism. And also, people that are in Vietnam who are also impacted by Western imperialism and American propaganda, and how there's a lot of suppression. And it's important to have the privileges that I do here in the States, the knowledge, the education, and to not gatekeep that, to share that with everyone that I know as much as I can, especially my people in Vietnam who don't have access to this information, and a lot of people like yourself who want access to this information, and to create that bridge between people, Vietnamese people in the diaspora all across the globe, to, our homeland. And how important that is for me. And the reason why I got into this work is because I didn't have a place to land, a place that I felt understood or heard. And that's why I work with incarcerated youth, because I know what that feels like, even though I was a lot more privileged than a lot of the youth that I work with. But even just the amount that I was experiencing was so painful. I can never imagine what it is to grow up in a cage, and how that is deeply tied and connected to what's happening in the present day, what's happened in the past with, like American history, Vietnamese history, history of colonization across the globe, and how, I think that is so relatable. And have if I have the privilege and ability to, prevent more harm from being caused by the oppressors, I'm going to do everything I can to do that.
Yes.
And so the reason why we connected is to create that bridge and to share this information as much as we can so that people can feel liberated from the inside out and connected to what we witness and see and what we've experienced in our life.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of us grow up seeking that, looking for that.
Yes, thank you. Wow, and what courage, right? Because it's just immense courage, chị Chanh ơi, because you are highly educated. You are so and you have all the pathway. You know what I'm saying? You could have a much easier life, like going on a different path, but you choose to come back and do the hard things and to bring more information and more awareness, right? And you lead with your heart and you're saying things that probably not the won't put you in the best position to say the truth, but you do tell the truth, and that you have not just me but everyone that is the target audience I have on this channel have massive respect for. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for believing and keep going on your path and to bring more to I say more awareness to the people and to lead with your heart. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and for all the work that you do and your team to put all this together. It's not easy. It takes a lot of coordination. And so grateful for creating this container, this platform, and
There will
having
be
me.
more.
And would love to be back anytime.
Yes, there will be more, and we hope to see you here in Saigon at some point where people maybe
Yes.
can have your can witness your practice and your workshop and maybe having conversation with you in person, and that what you're trying to bring, which is a new perspective, a unique new perspective, and that is goes beyond surface level conversation. That's what we're trying to bring.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you'll definitely see me in person in Saigon. And it'd be so cool if we did live workshops and, conversations and invite people in and really build that out. And yeah, I look forward to what we do together.
Yes, we can try it. Yes, true. Thank you, Trang, and please have a
Of
great day
course.
ahead.